Hi, this is the Price Action Analyst. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video I'm just reviewing two cryptos, KAVA and Loopring LRC. KAVA is KAVA. So these are both in my model portfolio. Let's start with Loopring first. So Loopring is it's got a hold recommendation. So the way I structure this is, I watch these for areas where I'm thinking it's an ideal entry to go long, and then I give a buy recommendation. And then as price, is moving away from the ideal entry zone, I put a late buy recommendation, which sort of indicates that it's getting late now, and then eventually it'll get moved to a hold, which basically means, if you bought it, just hold it, and if you didn't, it's too late. So Loopring, like other coins, has broken out of a long consolidation. There's two, maybe three legs up. This big wick at resistance was a reliable indicator of, coming weakness. So in future, subscribers will see that as an ideal exit zone. So, within that wick, I'll have an ideal exit place marked. And so they can take profits there, and they can reinvest that in coins that are going up. And if they want to hold Loopring long term, then they just wait for the ideal entry, and then they can move those funds back into it. So as Loopring retraced, the support and resistance levels are moved in. So I expect this support level to hold because my premise is upward. You've got support to resistance, support to resistance. So my long-term bias is up. So price came back here. There was some air here. You got buying support off of that air. And then, that wick is, especially outside of the Bollinger Band, is indicative of a place where you would expect to have further buying support on a retrace. So my ideal entry probably at one point was the bottom of that wick to the top of that wick. So if we drill down to the hourly chart, if everything else is good, like this one was, my long-term premise is up, and I expect support to hold. Price will never just bounce off support. It'll test, it'll retrace. This area of air is going to act as weakness, which it did. It'll go down, retrace, push to the low, retrace, and then the moment you start seeing those things wash and then support off of those washes, so there's air here and here, this to me is your early buy indicator. So I would have had a retrace of this air as a buying point. So you sit there with an order at 920, and you can see price came in shallow, and you had support off of that. And as it consolidated, it didn't break out. It actually retested the low here. But your buy would have been entered there. And sometimes that'll hold. Other times, it's come down and retested the wick. But you can see this area is reliable. Like, you've narrowed down your entry to between 859 and 920, for, an area that when price comes back in, it's likely to hold or wash and show support out of. And so look what price did. And so again, the breakout of this consolidation to the upside also was another place, another entry trigger. And then when you see price doing this, it's starting to get late. You're late to the game now. And especially, if you're short-term trading, you're futures trading or something, it's too late. With the cryptos, it's okay if you're holding them for the long term. That green line would have been another entry, but price price is pushed away now, and so that I believe on Loopring it's been moved to a hold. Yeah. So this is where I'm trying to give people buy entries, and the risk is that price just pushes down here, and so everything I've explained about looking at the structure of what's happening with price action is kind of how I decide that this is going to be, it's going to go that way as opposed to cycle back down. So hopefully that's helpful to people, or interesting, or enticing. So, if you want to see daily updates of this sort of analysis on a model portfolio of about 30 cryptocurrencies, then you can subscribe to my service, and I do this every day and look at those cryptocurrencies every day and put out these sorts of recommendations. So, whether you're looking to get into a specific coin, or you're looking to build a portfolio of coins, that I'm hoping that would be helpful in getting you in at prices that are, where shortly after you are making money. And I also think, I've said it before, this is this market is running pretty hot. I think this is a really good time to be entering the crypto space. So anyways, the next one I want to look at is KAVA. So that one, this has a late buy on it. So this is very close to being moved to a hold. But again, the same story as the previous one. You've got very strong pushes from support to resistance and very little weakness at resistance again. And here, this wick was a giveaway. I don't know if I was, I didn't give an exit thing on that, but that, for subscribers that are looking, that when I start putting ideal exit things, that's what I'm looking for. At resistance, outside of the Bollinger Band, a series of wicks. It's very, very likely now that retraces down from that. And so, that retrace has gone from resistance to support and then pushed through. So again, you could have looked at buying there, but if you drill down on that, you probably didn't see any buying pressure there, and that's what stops you from getting in, right? So here, we're at the next level of support, and again, I'm expecting this to hold because my long-term premise is up. And when you get to support, what do you see? You get a big buying, that is substantial buying pressure. Now, again, for the purposes of short-term or ideal entry, that will normally almost always retrace. But as that retrace, the fact that those red bars were very small is indicative that this upward direction is going to hold. And it's this buying bar and those retracements is indicative of exactly what's happened. Like, that's very high probability off the back of that price action. And so when we drill down to the hourly bars, you've got wicks, you've got a wash of the wick, retrace, a wash, a retrace, barely, and then bang, big buying burst, and you've got air. There's your air right there. And so this, that automatically becomes something I'm interested in on a retrace. So on Loopring that we just looked at, the retrace washed the pivot, but like I said, often these will hold. I mean, that's almost to the tick. It's almost to the tick. And look, price doesn't just get there and meander around there. It's straight in and straight out. And that V spike to me is also a giveaway that price is now moving up. Because, when price comes in, you'll generally see it come back up and retrace. This is when you get a strong move down. This happens the vast majority of time. You get a retrace to roughly 50% and down. When I see a push down and a push straight out with the same strength, that's now very bullish. And I'd frame these these trend lines in, and the push out was also a breakout. And so this here is kind of the giveaway to me that this is the low. And so, you know, when I see this, I'm putting in that as an ideal entry zone. And again, if you, for the purpose of holding crypto, if you buy here or you buy here, it's not going to change your life. But if you're doing something like futures trading, you have to buy here. If you buy here, you're in big trouble when it gets down here. And if it gets down here and it doesn't stop and cycles down, well, then it might be all over for you, right? So the shorter your time frame is, you know, if you're trading very volatile instruments like futures, or you're highly leveraged, then you make your time frame very short. Then you need to be more exact. But if you're buying stock or buying cryptos, you can just buy that. So anyways, that's pretty textbook, that this air, the retrace, and then the push out. And so now that's a buy recommendation that has now moved to a late buy for my daily updates. And if that tomorrow I look at it and it's up here, it'll be moved to a hold. It's now too late. If you missed this, then you missed out. But it doesn't matter. And that's the thing, you know, even within that model portfolio of 30 cryptos, there's, you know, 7 or 8, normally 5 to 8 all the time, that have buy recommendations on. So if you miss this, there's always something else. So never chase price, you know. It's very, very late. Like, I almost made that a hold today, but when you go to the hour daily chart, you know, the fact that I now expect price to, it could have resistance here and retrace, but ultimately I expect at least resistance and probably another test of this high. So, you know, again, if you're buying it here, given what we're doing, you could probably get away with it. You know, if price cycles back down to this area and pushes up, you know, it's not going to affect you. But it, you know, if you got a very short-term time frame for whatever reason, it's very, very late, probably too late to be buying here. I think that's all I wanted to say about those. Hopefully that's helpful. Please give the video the thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't. I'm on Twitter as well, @PriceAnalyst. Thanks for watching.